this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. What percentage of the people, of the Hindus, so to speak, are in the Kurukshetra, either as spectators or players or,
I would say that
coaches?
95% of the people are not even in any of these categories.
Okay, wow.
I mean, this is sad.
This is sad.
I live in Princeton, very elitist town, lot of wealthy people, sophisticated people, and we go to gatherings and go to each other's homes and all that. And they all think I'm a bit of a weird guy. Why are you wasting? You achieved so much at a young age. You should have by now been all this. You should have been on all these boards and investor here, there. And why you give up that? What is all this? Who cares? Does it matter? And they're all, the talk is who is on what board lately. They celebrate that. And who has made his next another 100 million somewhere. And they're very big shots.
Right.
Okay. And I'm an anomaly because 25 years ago I was a big shot around here. You know, they were sort of, some of them were at the same level, some of them were way behind because they were just learning the ropes of this game in America, this American capitalism.
Yeah.
You know, they were learning this game. And so I was at the top. And so now I've just abandoned it. So I feel that a very large percent of what we call our Hindus, we say that 80% of Indians are Hindus, we say. I don't think they're practicing Hindus. Then a lot of them are kind of secular Hindus, whatever that means that you send a Diwali card and you send some gifts
Sweets
to each other and you do namaskar and you give a Hindu name to your children and you, in a form, you fill out, I'm a Hindu. And maybe you do it because you want your children to be Hindus so they look after you.
Right.
A lot of the Hindus are worried about their kids abandoning them in old age. So an old age security, an old age insurance plan is that I will teach my kids to be Hindus whether I am or not because then they look after me. And that's a kind of a sloppy way, not really an authentic Hindu. Then there is Hindus who are, I call transactional Hindus, which means I do a transaction with God. I go and give $101 for this thing in the temple, and so no, my daughter will get married. Or I have this problem in my work, I want this job or whatever, so I go and pledge that I will do this. So it's a business transaction. And the pujari or the temple or the deity is kind of a fixer. They are the middleman, so there's a transaction fee. I do this, and because I've had people come to me and say, I don't believe in Hinduism. And I say, well, why you don't believe in Hinduism? He says, no, because I went there and they said, if you do this, your problem will be solved. I did it, it didn't get solved. They think the whole thing is a hoax. So the attitude is that this is a kind of a transaction mechanism to beat the system.
Right.
So I carried out my end of the deal, nothing happened. Either the astrologer told me this or some pujari or some guru told me this, and it didn't happen like it was supposed to. So I don't believe the whole thing is a hoax. So I call them transactional Hindus. Now, if you were to go to a Hindu temple, 90% of the people who've gone there to do puja are transactional Hindus. If you ask them, what are you doing? They are doing this because, their son just graduated and they need this and that for him. Now, I believe in ritual. I believe in yajna. I do believe in that. So it's not that these kind of things are not important.
Right.
In my tradition, they're very important.
Right.
But I believe that they are part of a bigger commitment.
Correct.
They're part of an overall commitment. It's not isolated. It's not surgical thing that I do this and I'll get that and we are done. Close that case. It's not like that.
So let me.
So these. If you were to start peeling off, you'll have peeled off 95%. You will. There are also people who are Hindus in the sense of they're following a particular guru or they're following a particular bhakti movement or some particular movement, and within that movement they're genuine.
Right.
Within that movement they're very genuine, as in a private life. So they're privately good, honest Hindus, but they're not interested in a public
Discourse.
they're not interested in the Kurukshetra. And they will say, I'm not controversial, I believe in positive things, I believe everybody's same, and they're into the sameness stuff also. They'll go with this path of least resistance, no controversy, don't rock the boat, I'm doing well in this country, I've got all this thing going, and privately I'm a Hindu, I've got a temple in my house, so why do I want to go out and tell them bad things, So I don't believe in all that. So there is what I call the private Hindu, afraid to go public, and also don't want to know the bad news.
Correct.
They just want to know everything is fine because they don't want to be, even if I'm talking, some temples won't invite me because they don't want to hear this. Some gatherings will not want me there because I will tell them things that are uncomfortable. And I'll pierce this comfort zone of theirs. And they don't want to hear that.
Right.
So, believe me, I have gone to the billionaire types. Swaraj Paul I wrote, and somebody told me to write to Hinduja. I went and lived in his house in Geneva. like 25 years ago, and a lot of big shots here, and in India I've gotten to know them. I've gotten to know the politician type, big shots. I've gotten to know a lot of these corporate, very successful, the people who just made a few hundred million in some big IPO in technology. I've gotten to know those. I've gotten to know a lot of people, which the average Hindu thinks is a good Hindu and he'll help you. But I know that it's not so easy to get even $1 out of them.